Welcome to the virtual career lounge session, helping you be a greater you. I'm your host, Darius Carlo, program coordinator here at L.O.V.E Youth. This lounge is designed to help middle and high school students prepare for life after high school. We believe that failing to plan is planning to fail. And today we're going to be talking about financial literacy. It is going to be awesome. But before we get started, I just want to give a big shout out to EXL, who sponsors the Career Lounge session. EXL is a leading data analytics and digital operations and solutions company. You can learn more about EXL at exlservice.com. Thanks to their sponsorship, we are able to bring this lounge to you at no cost. Before we go any further, I just want to let you know a little bit about L.O.V.E Youth. We are a local 501c3 in Orlando, Florida, providing programs for youth. Our mission is to leverage the power of collaboration to uplift and empower youth and their families within our community. But before we kick off financial literacy, let's meet the panel that we have today.
Thanks, Darius. Maybe I can go first. Really happy to be here. My name is Saurabh Bansal. I am a vice president in the banking and capital markets practice at EXL. I'm based out of the New York, New Jersey area. I am a finance professional by way of academic background. I have the equivalent of what is called a CPA in the US, and I'm really happy to be here and share my experience.
Hey, hi, my name is Arpita Agarwal. I am in Pennsylvania and I've been with EXL since 3.5 years. And my academic background is like I'm an Indian chartered accountant and I'm having a 8 years post graduation and post qualification thing. Thank you. Over to you, Adil.
Hi everyone, I am Tarun and I work as an associate consultant at EXL. On a day-to-day basis, I work to provide data analytics on financial data, and I also have a master's degree from the University of Chicago.
So my name is Rohit Khatri and I'm part of EXL from past 4 years. I started my journey with the Java developer, and then I switched to RPA, which is robotics automation, and now I am working as I'm part of the digital COE, where we have initiatives from automation to analytics to the latest trends in Gen AI and Agentic AI in the audit and finance space.
Let's kick off our conversation with this question right here. What does financial literacy mean to you, and why is it important for teens to start learning about it now?
Yeah, I can take a stab at that, and my colleagues can chime in, right? So I think financial literacy for me, right, is having the knowledge to organize, manage, and implement good financial discipline over the course of one's lifetime, right? And it's particularly important for teens because the sooner one becomes aware of the do's and don'ts, the better you're able to influence your life goals, right? Starting early versus starting this journey later in life has material consequences on the impact that you're able to drive.
Very good. Anyone else?
Yeah, I agree with the point that you said. It's a part of the lifetime, the financial journey, the how to manage the financials or the money management. It goes on. Like there is no saturation point where you can say that okay, I'm good with the with what we have or the what we managed so far. But yeah, it is an ongoing thing.
Mhm. Very good.
Yeah, actually, the financial literacy is not only for the career wise, it's for personal also because these days we see that the youth are so much in the social media and they are just spending so much, they don't know how to just manage their finance and all that. So I guess it's a long journey and it's for the lifetime, not for the small part only for the career wise. It's only also for your personally it's always affect your life earlier or later.
Mhm. And thank you, Arpita, because I was going to ask, how do we think that social media influences financial habits, whether good or bad. We know that you can have the gamut. But before we dive into that, while we're looking at that question, there was three words that stuck out that you guys mentioned. One was discipline, one was journey, and then one was knowledge. So when we look at the influence out there, let's use those kind of three words because I believe those are key to good financial literacy, those three words. So what do you think social media influences teens and their financial habits when it comes to that?
Yeah, because when we were small, we don't have that social media, so we don't spend that much of money. We are not influenced with the costly. The we don't know that much of brands. Also now they're my kids also know the all the brands, everything, and they want and they saying just like that the all the luxury brands. So they are very influenced with these one. So they just it's okay to have a good brands having good lifestyle, but it's always be like if you really need it or you are just influenced with the only you want because everybody is using that one. So that they just want to know, I guess, in future that it's their need or they are just influenced by other people.
I think social media these days, right, has a great role that it plays in terms of influencing one's wants and needs, right? In years past, it used to be called keeping up with the Joneses. Well, your neighbors bought a car and you want one, right? These days, you take your cues from social media, right? For good or bad, right? I think it is one of the sources of information and influence for teens more so than other age groups.
Yeah, and I believe like social media makes it very easy for the younger generation to like compare themselves to others and not see their struggles or maybe even their debts behind what they post, the fancy vacations or the expensive gadgets. They do come at a price, and it's always better to assess your financial situation currently and then go on and see what you can actually like afford, and is it a need or is it a want, and then go around that.
Mhm. And we've mentioned needs and wants or needs versus wants. We do have middle school kids that watch this through our college and career Rise and Thrive program here at Love Our Youth. So let's break down, if somebody wants to take this on, is what's a need versus a want, like real life scenario, need versus want.
It's the it's hard to define, right? It's individualistic to a certain extent, but a need is something that you cannot do without, right? And a want is something that you could or could not do without, but is something that your personal appetites give rise to by way of demand.
Very good. I love the way that you said that. It's something that you can't live without. So something like electricity or water or a roof over your head is a need, but a want would probably be like Arpita mentioned, what brand are you trying to keep up with? Or we're telling our age here, but are you keeping up with the Joneses or not? So I think that is really, really awesome. What role does budgeting play in financial literacy, especially for young people?
Yeah, I think it's the starting point for a really good financial plan, right? You need to know what your inflows are, right, and how you plan, to expend those by way of either expenses or investing and so on and so forth. And a good plan, right, requires fiscal discipline, and it starts with budgeting, in my mind. Otherwise, you're flying by the seat of your pants, as it were.
Also, it like helps you control the money and not the money control you, in the sense that you are giving every cent of you, or every cent that you earn or you make, just give it a job to, like, either you have a want or a need, you can plan accordingly basically.
Tarun hit it in the head. Don't let the money control you. You control. You tell your money where you want it to go, and a budget helps you accomplish that. I love that right there. Um, when we look at this, this is not an overnight process. Remember, the three words were knowledge, journey, and discipline. It is not an overnight process. So, what is a personal experience that you've had with finances or financial literacy?
Right now I am just doing that to my daughter also. I am just giving her some amount monthly, and just always said that okay, this is all you have for a month, you can spend it or whatever you want. So she knows, she just saying okay mama, I am doing 50-50, I am giving 50% in my spending and 50 in my just like saving. So she's very small for this, but she's starting doing that. So she had something in her mind, okay, we are just sending. So I guess we have to just give some knowledge to our children, everybody, that okay, spending is okay, but you have to save money also. So this is my experience, that she's already started doing this one. So I guess in future it will help her more for
Yeah,
this.
I can share my experience in more general terms, right? I think early on in my career, right, I learned by making my own mistakes, right? I didn't know enough, and I didn't do enough, and I did the wrong things often enough for that to happen. But I think as I became more aware and as I progressed in my career, I've moved towards what I feel, right, is learning from other people's mistakes, right, without having to incur the cost of those, right? Being aware of what people did and why it was correct or not correct, and inculcating that in my life.
Awesome. And it's something that, as we look at financial literacy, that there will be mistakes made. We will have to learn, especially when you're just starting out. I love what Arpita's doing with her daughter, because she's preparing her to understand what savings looks like and what finances look like spending money. How can a teenager start saving money, like a practical way, or intro to saving?
I believe like they can somehow like split the funds that they have, the money that they have. And like personally, like when I started finance, like doing my financing things, there I followed like a 50-30-20 rule, where I would keep 50% of what I earn for my needs, 30% for what I like really wanted, and 20% would directly go to the savings. You can obviously, as per your needs and wants, you can change this ratio, like boost up the savings. But I think it's a good starting point, like just to allocate some percentages. Like this is just an example, but as per their particular life and as per their requirements, they can change this ratio. I mean, that worked for me. But over
Yeah,
to
I'll,
you.
I'll take another example, from my personal life, right? I have a 14-year-old, right, who started doing a summer job for the first time earlier this summer. And as he was going into it, right, his thought process was, this money that I'm going to make, right, I'm going to buy this, this, and this with it, right? So as he was going into this and earning his first dollar, as it were, he already knew what he wants to do with it, right? And most of it was spend, 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 right? I think what's important, and my colleague just called that out as well, is as you're beginning to think about inflows, right, making sure that you're budgeting, allocating it towards non-spend activity as well, towards saving, right? That's step one. And once you're able to do that, right, is then understanding what to do with those savings, right? You put it in a high yield savings account. Are there other things you want to do with it? But the first step is to stop thinking about the money that you're going to earn in terms of what you're going to spend it on purely.
That's good advice there too. So we've gotten two good solid stuff right now. One, the 50-30-20 rule. That's what Torin just made something. He's going to become a hit on the internet right now on YouTube. But 50% for your need for living expenses, basically 30% of what you want, and then 20% for savings, and then recognizing what your main goal is. This is awesome stuff. Teens that are watching, you guys need to grab a hold of this. If you start this young, when you get older in the next 20-30 years, you'll not only have a great amount of money saved for retirement, but you set yourself up for your future, where some may be behind the eight ball. One thing that I love when we look at finances is investment. I know there's a lot of apps out there, there's stuff on social media, but how can a young teenage 14, 15-year-old kid start learning about investments?
Yeah, I can go here again, right? I think, I am a finance professional and I've been formally educated in finance, both from a college as well as a professional certification perspective, right? But all that taught me was, world economics, world finance, corporate finance, but none of it formally prepared me for personal finance, right? So I think step one is, and it goes back to the point I made about awareness, right? Read about it, make yourself aware. What is it? What does it entail? And as you're doing that, right, you'll start finding out, what are some of the good moves to make financially from an investment perspective early on in your career, right? Uh, some of the things that you learn along the way are, putting money in a savings account, right? It seems like the obvious first logical step to do. Hey, instead of spending it, I put it in a bank account. It's there, it's protected, and it's growing somewhat because of interest that I earn on it, right? But as you become more financially aware, you realize that inflation eats away at that, and maybe keeping money in a savings account is not the best way to invest your, wealth, right? So what are the alternatives then, right? You start looking at things like, stocks, ETFs, and other ways of investing your money, right? So, and I know one of the questions we'll talk about later in this segment is around, the power of compounding, right? So there is no substitute in my mind to being aware of your options and then to be able to effectively evaluate them. And the evaluation is not just in terms of the return you're looking to get or preservation of capital, but also the time horizon you have, right? You need to create liquidity for yourself for unexpected events. At the same time, investing in long-term instruments that will give you significant returns over your career.
So good, because we have to recognize that there are short-term, quote unquote, emergency funds that you need to have for everyday stuff, whether it's a car breaking down, a tire, anything like that can happen. Or even if you own a home, if the air conditioner breaks, there's all sorts of stuff. But then on top of that, it's other savings methods so that you could save for retirement. So it's saving for issues that will come up and saving for retirement. Now, I leave this question for last because I think this is an awesome question for all of us, is what advice would you give your teenage self about managing money?
I would probably request Arpita to go first. She probably remembers her teenage better than I do. I'm further along in the years.
Yeah, actually, as per my experience, is if you the 401k is very good option if your company is giving you, or if you want, because it's a very small amount from your salary or whatever you are getting. So it's never hurt you, it's never comes to your account, you never just thought about, okay, it's very small amount is going out from your salary, and you always, and it's a monthly, so you never think, okay, I spent this much in my investment, or this much I already spend it, or I have to spend. So that is a very good option, as like all other options like 401k or other options. So I guess it's early you start these things, it will get more amount, and whenever you are just retired or a long time, or if you want anything loan, they will help you out for that also. So I really personally prefer that too much.
Mhm. That's
I'll,
awesome.
I'll summarize my guidance to my teen self in two words, right? Delayed gratification, right? I think the whole environment, from we mentioned social media pressures, right, to even how financial institutions are postured to provide services to you, right? There are credit cards these days which come with very high interest and fees. There's buy now pay later options, right? And that, option to have instant gratification, right, which is, hey, I can go out and buy a television today and pay for it over the next 12 months, right, is very strong, and it's enabled by everything around you, right? But having that discipline to delay that gratification, saying, you know what, let me save for 12 months and have enough to buy that television outright, should I, if I'm able to save that money, right, is the kind of discipline that I would want my, teen self to have had, which I didn't, by the way.
Hmm. No, and that's great advice, because we're looking at not just short term, but long term. And what does that look like? It's that moment. And maybe you could share just real quick about compounding interest, because we've talked about discipline, we talked about delayed gratification, and compounding interest. Those are key words to that, because that's not an overnight thing. Go ahead, real quick, and just share on that.
Yeah, so I think it was Einstein or someone who said it that compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world, right? You can research the mathematics on it, but let's assume you're starting small, right? You're saving $100 a month, starting when you're 18 years old, right, and putting it in a financial instrument that's giving you a certain rate of return, right? If you start at 18 and you retire, let's say at 60, it's going to give you X million dollars, right, of retirement savings, right? And if you delay that start from 18 to 20 to 24 or maybe 25, right, you'll see that quickly reducing from X million dollars to a fraction of $1 million, right? So that's the power of compounding, right? It's really important to understand that starting early on is a much surer way of building wealth in the long term. And I would encourage all of the viewers to this video to kind of research on that in terms of the actual economics of it, right? To make it real for you.
Mm-hmm. No, that I think that is such good stuff that we've discussed today. Because recognizing that this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And when we look at where our finances are and what we want to do with our finances, the key words that we've been discussing, I have knowledge, I have discipline, I have a journey. I Torrance famous 50-30-20 rule, which is really good when we're looking at getting your first apartment, and life after high school is not putting yourself in a position where you're buying something you can't afford. Um, Understanding that delayed gratification is awesome, because if you can have the discipline to say, you know what, I'm not buying this TV today, I will wait till I save the money to get it next year, rather than paying it and paying high interest on a credit card, it feels so much better. So I think today's conversation has been very practical, and some good advice. So guys that are watching, please take away with that. This is a journey. Educate yourself about finances. Like, we've heard, look at how much to save. Start small. You can start small, $100, $50, whatever you can. You start with that, and then little by little, like our Peter said, even with a 401k, if you're 18 years old, your job offers it and it's 3%, you will never know that 3% is coming out. And eventually, when you get ready to retire, you'll have a nice little nest egg. So I like to thank you guys again for all this conversation, but now we have some more fun questions that I want to ask. This has nothing to do with finances. So I have some questions that I always ask. One is, are you tea or coffee?
Coffee all the way.
Or Peter, it's okay.
Coffee or coffee. Most of
Okay.
the time tea also, but not coffee all the way.
No, I totally understand. I could drink coffee all day, it seems like. I don't think it's a good thing, but I think, it's something that I love.
Yeah.
Another question is, what is your go-to comfort meal?
I don't know if it qualifies as a comfort meal, but given a choice, I pick a steak any day.
Ribeye
Yes,
or
sir.
New York strip or filet?
Ribeye. I'm a ribeye guy.
This is amazing. Or Peter, your comfort meal?
My comfort meal is my homemade food, something,
So homemade food, going into the kitchen.
and
Um,
something for myself.
Yes, I totally understand. I'm Puerto Rican, and one thing that I love are anything stewed. It's a comfort meal for me. So either chicken, stewed beef. I love any of that stuff. It just with some white rice. It just, it's
It's a
amazing. So, um, looking at food, what is the most unusual food you've eaten? Okay.
alligator meat comes to mind.
Alligator. I'm in
Yeah.
Florida, so I've had gator before. So yes.
No, I'm pure vegetarian, so I'm good.
I hear that. Um, I've had gator before. I've had elk before. So and I've also eaten some just weird foods that they say just try this once. One time in Vegas, I ate a scorpion tail, which was
You
I, it's a long story. We're not discussing that today. But I would say that's probably the weirdest thing that I've eaten. But again, I wanted to ask some of the fun questions here. Thank you guys for taking the time today to be a part of the Career Lounge sessions. Thank you for joining us. We hope today's conversation, especially the practical tips that we've learned today, you find beneficial for your life while you're in school and for your life after school. Remember, knowledge, discipline, it's a journey. 50-30-20 rule. You'll make mistakes, but you can get up and pick yourself up and keep going. Again, a special shout out to the Career Lounge sponsor, which is EXL, a leading data analytical, digital operations, and solutions company. And you can learn more about EXL at exlservice.com. Because of their support and sponsorship, we're able to bring this to you free of charge. We look forward to seeing you again at the next Career Lounge session. Remember to smash the like button and hit that subscribe button so you can get notifications about what we're having next. Thank you all again and have a wonderful day.